This movie is being made for Fremont Christian School students in the distant learning 8th grade sewing class. We are on step 4 of our quilted table runner, and we have completed all 12 blocks. Here they are. I have gone to the page on the module that has the layout picture drawn on graph paper, and I've aligned all my blocks according to that picture in that orientation, with the dark, medium, light, the light, medium, dark, and so on. I have 2 rows of blocks. I will show you those now. I have labeled each row of blocks. This bottom row is 1A, 1B, 1C, and then it continues 1D, 1E, 1F. And the top row for row 2 is 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, 2E, 2F. Now I'm going to just stack my blocks quickly to create more space because I'm working in a small area. But I'm going to lay my 1E on top of my 1F. My 1D on top. Don't change the orientation, leave them going the same direction you had them on the table. Okay, here's my row 1, all in a stack. I'm going to do the same with row 2. I'm going to lay 2E on top of 2F. I've used sticky notes. They're not sticking too well, but maybe they'll get me through the project. If I really must, I can pin them on there so I don't get confused. What block is what? Again, it's very important to keep the orientation, the layout of the block the same. Okay, so here's my row 1A and 2A. Okay, I'm ready to go to the sewing machine. Again, we're going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to just work with row 1 right now. Okay, I have it laying here on the table. 1A. Just because it's going to get in my way, I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it at this time. 1A. I'm going to take the paper off of 1B and I'm going to just turn it right sides together, pretty sides together, on top of on top of 1A. 1A is here, 1B is here, and now I'm going to sew that 1/4 inch seam. By the way, I should have checked these before, but your blocks, if you did them correctly, they should be 6.5 inches by 6.5. That's all going to depend on how accurately you sewed your blocks and how accurately the person cut them out. Mine look like they're just about perfect. Okay? All right. So, okay. Gonna lay this down on top. And I'm gonna stitch this edge at 1/4. It's the right edge. Make sure as you sew that anytime you sew over one of your previous seams that it's laying flat. Okay. I have attached 1A to 1B. Notice that I've got this zigzag going kind of here of light to light. Now I'm going to pick up my 1C from this stack. I can take the paper off, lay it face down, and I am going to stitch my 1/4 inch seam. Whoops, mine is getting caught in there again. Let's try that again. It helps to make sure I can hold these 2 threads while I sew. Kind of give them a little tug as I go. Oh, it's doing it again. This is my machine's problem. It just doesn't like to do the edges of the seams, and that happens sometimes. So I'm going to go back to that little trick I showed you, where I'm going to start with a little scrap. I'm going to sew it first. Now, I'm going to put this in, slide that under, and get that right up there. Pull on this gently and sew through that. Okay, I am not, gotta get them lined up. Okay, now I'm going to take my 1D block and lay it face down. On top of 1C. Again, I better use this little trick because my machine's not liking me too well. Okay. If yours is working fine, you don't have to use that trick. Okay. Again, I feel that my seams are laying down. Okay. Now I'm ready to attach one E to 1D. So basically this is a 12 block table runner with 6 in each row. If we'd had more fabric, a 3 block really brings out the pattern a little more, a 3 row, but then it ceases being a table runner and ends up looking more like a wall hanging. Okay, and I have one last block for this row. I'm going to take 1F and lay it pretty side down on 1E, and I'm ready to sew. Make sure it's lined up at the top and the bottom. top, bottom, and side all need to be matched. Okay, I did what I did before. My fabric likes to get sucked down into the feed dogs, so I'm going to use this little trick again. Got that almost to the edge of my, and I'm going to just line this right up, and it should just keep sewing right onto my piece, my block. Okay, I felt this seam under here start to turn up, and so I flipped it back under. And you have just completed the first row. Looks nice. Okay, I want to show you what I'm going to go and do at the iron rather than carry the camera in here. I am going to take my iron and press all of my seams, setting in the threads like I did before. And once I do that, I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to press all of my seams on row 1, my new seams, all of these seams to the right. So they're all going in the same direction, to the right, to the right. Just to your right side, press those seams. And I'll be back and show you. We'll do the same application for row 2. And except on row 2, you will press all your seams to the left. And there's a very good reason for that. And I'll tell you about that later in the next video.